So in this one, we're going to use a rhythmic motif. I really want you to notice what happens in the first two bars, okay? So I'm going to play, this is the phrase in the first two bars. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now we're going to use that skeleton to develop the solo as it goes on. You'll see that phrase in bars 1 and 2 repeats again in bars 5 and 6, bars 9 and 10, bars 13 and 14. The notes change, but the rhythm is the same. And sometimes that's just enough to make it all part of one thing. That's one of the concepts of slow burn soloing that I'm going to keep reminding you of as we go from etude to etude, is that rather than having just a string of a bunch of notes that you throw together that might sound good, you want to have some kind of core themes that you're developing. So if you plant some seeds, you're going to water those seeds, okay? And you're going to hopefully watch them grow and nurture them so that you can really develop a whole solo out of just one or two basic ideas. When I'm in the studio working on a solo, if I'm going to compose it ahead of time, one of the panicky moments is, oh my goodness, how am I going to fill this 30-second hole in the song? And the thing that I always come back to, that I remind myself of, and I'll remind you of as we go through this etude, is that you really don't have to come up with a whole bunch of new material over and over again from bar to bar. You want to take the material that you start with and develop that and see just how far you can go with it. So I did it in this etude, a little bit, maybe in a simple way, but just to illustrate the point. And of course, you could develop it in a different way if you want to. So this is the first 4 bars. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's all based around basically like a G minor pentatonic box here in the middle of the neck. So I'm thinking about this shape. Everything is based right around there, okay? Now, bar 5, it develops similarly. This will be bars 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's not really that different from the first 4 bars, but it's just different enough to hopefully string people's ears along so they want to find out what happens next. Okay, now it's going to get a little more interesting. Instead of playing that melody down here, I'm jumping up here. Same basic idea. This is not really that different. It's just moved up a little bit. So again, I'm thinking G minor pentatonic, but we're also going to start to incorporate some other notes. And I want you to notice that if you start your solo in pentatonic and little by little start adding other chord tones like the 9th or the 2nd, the 9th and the 2nd are basically the same. But if you incorporate the 9th or the 6th, which is also known as the 13th, you'll see as we go along, it gets more interesting. So pentatonic can be a good place to start your solo because it's limited. It's just 5 notes. And some other scales, most other scales have 7. So here's bar 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you see, it's rhythmically the same as the first 4 bars, but just higher, not only higher up in terms of pitch, but also higher up the harmonic ladder. Instead of playing the 3rd and the root as we did in bar 1, now we're playing the 7th and the 5th. That's going to create a little more harmonic interest because you're higher up in the chord. Bar 13, same kind of idea, same rhythm, just developed a little more differently. Sorry. Now we're going to deviate from that theme because we want to transition into the next section, which is a new section. So we play. And you can see this is what I was talking about a minute ago. Instead of just using pentatonic notes now, we're getting a little more chromatic. On the D chord, we've got that F sharp note. That's the third of the chord. We haven't heard that note in the solo yet, so it's going to stand out even though it's only an eighth note long. It's going to stand out in your ear because we've heard a lot of those notes. Now we introduced A, which is still part of the G minor scale, but it's not in the pentatonic. So it's a colorful note, but it's not outside the normal notes. Now when we go to this F sharp, again, this is in bar 16. So it resolves by going back up into scale stuff, but that's cool. It's a really colorful note, that F sharp. Now we want to create some real excitement because the solo's wrapping up. We're 2/3 of the way through. Now, for this to really be a truly slow burn kind of solo, we've had a lot of slow. Now we need to get into some more burn. So, two really easy tricks to get it to turn the heat up is to play busier, so to go from eighth notes to 16th notes, or also to create some tension, which you can do. One way to create tension is with double stops. So far, we've only heard one note at a time. Now we're going to hear a double stop just means two notes at a time, if you don't know what a double stop is. So bar 17, it looks like this. So these are octaves. And that's going to perk up people's ears. We haven't heard that yet. And then from there we go. So again, bar 17 and bar 19 are both octaves, but they're not the same. That's 17, this is 19. So we're kind of dancing around where the median line of the solo is. As you climb higher and higher in a solo, it doesn't just mean higher, 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 higher. You want to go up, 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 back down, up, 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 back down. So that's how you control the tension in a solo. Now in bar 21, things get really interesting. We're going to really lean on some tense notes. So yeah, bar 21 is this. So instead of having these big wide octave double stops, now we have these are seconds, meaning they're just next door neighbors in a scale. That's an interesting sound if you wanted to continue it up the neck. But I just used it a little bit. It goes now I want to get busier. I want to use 16th notes just to keep the intensity high. So I come down basically just a G minor scale. It's one note more than pentatonic and one note less than diatonic. I'm using, this is the third, the second, the root, the seventh, and I skip over the sixth and jump back down. And then this is the last lick. This is bar 23. It's just kind of an anthemic way to end the solo. Sometimes we want to end the solo on a downer because we want to make room for the singer to come back in. And sometimes we want to just play something anthemic and leave our mark and say, I was here, I played a guitar solo. And that's how this solo ends.